expressed are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. That was my best impression of the old football broadcaster that used to do all the Rose Bowl games. And this is Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. Ty Bartell. Ty, I can't remember that guy's name, or else I would give him credit. You know who I'm going for, right, though? You've heard his calls before.
I've heard the call, yeah, before.
Killing me.
What was his name? Hold on, I'm trying to think. I think it was it Keith Max Jackson? I think it might have been Keith Jackson. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I obviously don't know the name, so just whoop, whoop. Sure, let's go with that.
We'll have to say we could fact check it too. Scotty might use it as a point too if I got it wrong next Wednesday.
Point for Scotty because we missed his trivia questions yesterday, unfortunately.
Yeah, but hey, there was a lot of things too that kind of got missed and postponed, I guess you would say, last night.
For the first time in what feels like forever, we've actually had weather impact our schedule. It felt like we were rolling with the dry weather for the last month, and we never really had Mother Nature affect us. But last night, it sure did. Thunderstorms came rolling in around 7 o'clock, and it postponed the Class B championship series. They did not get to play that game, and because NABF sophomore series starts today, Creekside and Astro Falcons have to wait until Monday to resume that series and play game 4.
Talk about who does that advantage? Like, let's start that conversation right off.
Well, look, both pitching staffs are going to be clean, right? So yeah, you've had plenty of days off. They're both going to be able to go with their best pitcher that they want on the mound.
Advantage Creekside to get the rest. Advantage Astro to get the rest. Who gets the advantage in this?
The one thing Creekside won't have is the momentum, right? Because they had momentum winning game 3. They were going right into the next day for game 4. Now it's kind of like a reset button, but you got to remember, like when Creekside threw their number 1 in game 1, it was a 2-1 game, right? It was very close, pitched really, really well. Creekside out hit the Falcons, and they still didn't win. So I think they like their chances if they're able to throw their strong arms again.
You know what? I mean, you also got to talk about it too. Ziegler will be available to pitch then now. That'll be 3 days rest. So you can realistically have Mark Bunch and Ziegler pitch. I mean, you're throwing everything at the wall for game 4 to try to get to game 5.
Because this is basically game 5 for Creekside right now. They're going to play 2 game 5s because it's win or go home. So they have to just do whatever it takes to win. If that means Mark Bunch can go the complete game, then that's what they're going to do. But if they have to throw in Ziegler there, you got to win today before you plan for tomorrow, right? So you do whatever it takes to win. Obviously today meaning Monday, but you got to do whatever it takes to win Monday, and then whatever happens after that, then plan for Tuesday.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where you can't be worrying about game 5 because you're not even there yet. So I don't know. It obviously, I think, is an advantage for Astro because they're not going to have, like you said, Creekside's momentum going into it. But Creekside has some arms that can go against Astro. The best part about this, I don't know if it advantages anyone else other than the fact that Astro is going to have the advantage a little bit because Creekside won't have that momentum. Outside of that, I think this is just going to be one of the best baseball games we're going to see in the high school realm, Class B realm all year long, because these are two of the best teams down there at Class B, some of the best athletes in not only Northeastern Ohio, but Western Pennsylvania as well, all going at it here, and they're going to be throwing their best of the best on the mound and in those boxes, because what else do you have to lose?
I would argue, Ty, that the team that really wants the reset button the most is the Astro Falcons, because you look at this series, objectively, they haven't played their best baseball in games 1 through 4. They kind of snuck away with wins in games 1 and 2, but they got out hit in game 1, and they needed a 4-run rally in the top of the 7th in game 2. So they have to feel like they haven't played their best baseball this week. So now they get a couple of days to decompress, hit that reset button, and come out and try to put their best foot forward in game 4. They've already proven that they can dominate Creekside this year, so they know they can just put game 4 away. They might really be looking forward to this reset.
They could be looking forward to this reset, but advantage works both ways too. And I mean, it could be an advantage to Creekside not coming in super high on themselves after that win against the Astro Falcons, coming back down to even. But now you have the confidence saying, all right, the first 3 games in the regular season, bad. Like I said, 34-2, Astro Falcons outscored Creekside, won all 3 games. But these last 3 games too, not so much the case. And we've proven to not only ourselves, but to them that we can hang with them, we can compete with them. I think there's a lot more of a swagger, I guess you would say, for Creekside going into this game 4 than maybe game 1 of this series. A lot more confidence, I think, is radiating off of them going into this one.
I think Creekside has thrown those 3 regular season games completely away and burned them in a trash can. And the Astro Falcons are like hanging them on a wall saying, this is our standard. Let's get back to this.
Yeah.
2 different teams, 2 different ways of looking at that, of course.
But like we said, too, and with that kind of mentality, if they're trying to go out there, run rule Creekside, we said it before, Astro Falcons is a very aggressive lineup, but they know how to be patient, if that makes sense. And that they're going to swing at a lot of first pitches. You'll see them be aggressive and get out there with the bats, but they also know how to work counts. So they can force going 0-2 to 3-2, 0-2 to 2-2. And I mean, get back to counts even and get ahead in counts again. We said it before, Astro Falcons really good at that. But when you have guys like Ziegler who are kind of aggressive on the mound too, kind of counter that aggression, use that aggressiveness against the Astro Falcons, we've seen guys have success against it. I'm interested to see who they throw in this game because both guys will be available, Bunch and Ziegler.
That's it, because Ziegler got the win, right? He got the win, but Bunch probably pitched the best out of any pitcher that they've thrown in this series. So it'll be interesting to see which one they kind of lean towards.
Outside of a few walks, he no hit the Astro Falcons from. They scored 2 in the first inning against them. He no hit them the rest of the way through against Astro. So you look at that. I think it's very impressive to see what Mark Bunch has been able to do against this lineup, and I think it showcases once again that he is one of the best arms in the area.
Even in that first inning, he gave up 2 runs on 2 hits. So it wasn't like he was giving up hits in that first inning and then worked it out. He gave up 2 hits the whole game. So it's pretty impressive.
Stuff's hard to hit, man. He's got an array of weapons he can use against you.
So we'll have to see, once again, Creekside versus Astro Falcons. Game 4 of the 18U Championship Series moved to Monday because of rain, and they obviously can't play this weekend because Scene Park is kind of occupied with the NABF Sophomore Series, which starts tonight at Scene Park Fields 1 through 3.
And I guess you would say a busy 4-day weekend. It starts tonight. We got double headers on every single field throughout tonight, but we also have a boatload of games not only on Friday but Saturday, Sunday. I mean, just reload. I mean,
every game. Oh, excuse me, I just lost my voice for a minute. Every game of the NABF Sophomore Series will be on YSN. So the schedule has been posted. You can go find that. We just retweeted it on our Twitter, and you can go to @NABF Info as well to find the full schedule of this weekend's games. Who's playing who? What are the matchups? What time the winners will play? Everything like that. It's all going to be on that spreadsheet. We can't wait for it. Like you said, the 6 games tonight, but I think it really amps up tomorrow with morning games through the morning and then through the evening too.
I mean, we have games, I think, on all 3 fields. You're going to have ones that start at 10, ones that start at 12:30, ones that start at 3, and then ones that start at 5:30. So you're going to have 4 games on each of the field. Do the math.
12
That's
games total.
Yeah, a dozen games served up on Scene Park.
So that means in the next 24 hours, we're going to have just with that, 18 games.
That's not even counting all the any Little League or Mahoning Valley or anything else we're going to be having, or Steel Valley Storm, all those things that we have going on throughout the week. Actually, we wouldn't have Mahoning Valley. I think they're on the road this week. So
yeah, they return home next week.
Yeah.
A lot of big promotions. You can find those on their Twitter as well. We'll talk about the Steel Valley, the Mahoning Valley Strappers a little bit later. But Ty, the other thing that got affected by weather is the Little League 9U championship game. Now, it got started because the start time for that was about an hour earlier than that Class B championship game that got postponed. But it is delayed, I guess you would say. Interrupted, suspended. Is that the word when it's in the middle, suspended? I think suspended is the word they use.
Suspended, yeah.
So it has been suspended. It is in the second inning. Canfield already has a 3-0 lead. They will resume that game tonight at 6 o'clock at the Field of Dreams.
Let's talk about this game. I mean, advantage in this one. What do you say in this one? Poland getting a chance to kind of reset. You got to figure Poland's got a little bit of an advantage after being able to stop and mentally decompress after that game.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's always an advantage of in-game momentum. You're still going to be down 3-0, but I think Poland's going to be a lot easier to come into this game acting like it's 0-0.
If this is the case, we're going to have to resume this series in like a week and a half. That's going to be crazy. But I mean, Mark Roth too with the dynamite dropping. Alamina's not in playoffs. Astro and Creekside will be pushed back. So I mean, we might
not even this Monday. I apologize for that.
We might even we might even expect them to get pushed back some more. That's going to be interesting, resuming that after such a long delay.
All right, tee out. Let's resume in a couple weeks, real quick.
Yeah, we're gonna have to just put that on hold. But one that's going to be coming right back and resuming play, like you said, Ant, this Canfield Poland 9U championship game. Like I was saying, this has to be an advantage for the Poland Bulldogs, right? You're down 3-0. You get to kind of mentally get back into the game and prepare yourself.
It's advantage Poland if Canfield lets it be advantage Poland, in the sense that if their mindset doesn't come out with we're still up with, like, they don't have the same fire because the break. Right now Canfield has the advantage. They're up 3-0, right? So objectively, Canfield has the advantage, but mentally, if it goes that way, Poland could have a really big advantage if they kind of are the team that's able to hit that reset button and come out with momentum after the break.
I think it's just big that they are going to have the chance to hit that reset button and kind of get back to their game planning and just being able to talk with coach too after that game and just be able to say, like, how many times, I mean, we don't see it often in a season at all, but how many times in any season do you see games where you can kind of stop it in the middle of it and say, all right, let's take a day and talk about what we're doing wrong here, and then we can maybe still win this game.
So if it happens to be pushed back till after the junior and senior and ABF games, that would be, July 25th when it resumes.
Yeah, I mean that's
the longest 5-game series in baseball history.
We're gonna be finishing this up, and like high school season will be starting like a couple weeks after. Kids are gonna need to be getting to college almost right after.
Right, like, hey, let's finish this Class B series, and I gotta move in.
They have all their stuff packed in their cars. They're like, we're gonna finish this game, and I'm gonna go straight to there. Here's a good drop in from DJ too. Little League rules dictate that no pitcher can appear in 3 straight games. This will directly impact both teams. Poland gains pitchers and Canfield loses one. Crazy. Oh. So that's interesting. I'm learning more rules about Little League as I go too, because I had to kind of learn on the fly as we've covered these tournaments. But that is crazy. So in this instance, you got to figure that Poland's going to be able to get a little bit of help. Then that's got to be a little bit of a boost. And of course, I'm sure DJ on Power Hour will have a lot more of a take on this being there. But how many times do you get a chance to kind of set the clipboard down, get your guys around, and get to talk? All right, we're down 3-0. Let's talk about what we were doing wrong in this. Let's talk about how we can correct some of these things, what we can do, what we can do right, how we're approaching this.
That sounds like there may have been some strategy put into how, who you throw in the first 2 innings of that game, knowing that there might be rain to come, and this will count as a third straight game technically because it's another day. So the fact that maybe there might have been some strategy in there between both teams on what arms they put out there in a game that you looked at the forecast last night, it was very unlikely that they were going to get a whole game in.
That is interesting, and you got to wonder what kind of strategy some of these coaches have utilized too. And like DJ said, Poland gaining those kind of arms too, and Poland gains pitchers, and he said pitchers as well too. So that's plural. That's huge for Poland too, just to have a couple more arms go some distance, get a little bit of length out of them too, and just to have options of guys to throw. I think that's awesome.
Mark Roth giving us some more information.
Laredo, Texas. For the World Series check-in date, July 28th. Mind blown.
So it's going to be a lot of baseball for the Astros.
A lot of baseball right before they get into a college, a lot of them too. A lot of them.
I'm sure none of them are complaining one bit.
No doubt. I mean, this is the level of baseball you're going to want to be playing right before you get to the next level and play in the college realms, right? Because this is the type of competition you want to see, the type of arms you want to see on the mound as hitters. And same thing, vice versa for pitchers. You want to see this kind of competition in the batter's box because a lot of this you might be facing in the next level in the college realm anyway. So I think it's good to get a heads up too, and just good to see each other. Like we said too, and I think we've had this kind of discussion on a bunch of shows throughout YSN's history about these teams and how the players, I guess, are organized on these teams going forward. I don't know. I just lost it, honestly. Just lost the point. I lost the point I was going with. But no, how the players have the advantage of, that's where I was going with it. How the players have the advantage of seeing all this competition before you get to the college realm. Like you always heard back in the day, right? Too. Like I remember my dad always talking about just playing like local teams, like how back in the day, a lot of high schools, you stick with the local teams, you play local. But now, I mean, with the introduction of travel ball and just how many avenues these kids have to play competition from not only just the state of Ohio, from the entire Northeast region, and even beyond from the entire United States as a nation, I think it's absolutely incredible too, because what kind of an advantage is that now for these hitters and pitchers to be able to see this level of competition before you'll have to see it again in the college realm or even further in the majors one day? And then what? Oh, DJ coming in. Report dates for these tournaments and colleges are going to be interesting, how they impact late season baseball. I'm curious about that too, because like I said, I mean, with the colleges too, if you're getting pretty dangerously close to like these kids have to get into their rooms. Like that's what I was saying.
There's there's only so much time you can fit stuff into,
Yeah, classes might start in August, but like some of these colleges, you need to be in like a week before. Like you need to be in your dorm like a week before, if you're for incoming freshmen. So it's going to be interesting to see how much they can really push this back. Obviously, Scene's going to have to try to get these games up August 18th. All right. So
that's at least a little bit of a gap, right?
A little bit of a gap, right? That's different colleges in different states too. They all have different start times. And I mean, even different majors too will start at different times as well for certain colleges. It's crazy how these kids, though, I mean, you have to have these time management skills, and you want to talk about going into college, and just that's one of the skills you need. I mean, these kids are going to have to learn it firsthand, right? With these baseball schedules, kind
Well,
of balancing everything out, managing things.
that's the thing. When you're an athlete, one of the things you learn is you need to utilize the summer semester as much as possible. So there were probably, like DJ said, there were kids that were starting classes before our All-Star game back in the last weekend of June, right? So, I think June 26th, if I'm not mistaken, the exact number. I could be wrong, but it was that last weekend of June for the All-Star game. So you got to utilize that summer semester if you're gonna be taking a heavy course load to lighten your load as much as possible when you get into season.
Especially like if there's classes that you find yourself struggling with, or if there's like a class is going to be difficult, find it or take it when you're going to have more accessible time to be able to work on it and get help if you need to as well with it. I think a lot of athletes have done a great job of becoming more wiser, I guess, with time management over the years too. And I think it's starting to be more reinforced at the high school level, and it's
Well,
something that needs to
you
be
know,
reinforced at the high school level.
we talk about development of the sport from a younger age. Because of that, from a younger age, you're more demanding on a kid's time. So I think you're seeing kids much earlier in life develop time management skills. And I think it's coming back to pay dividends now that we're talking about how you kind of manage a college season and a college schedule when you're a college athlete.
And I think that's just, I mean, what kind of advantage is that for our kids? I would just say it's huge. It's huge. And I
Mm.
think it just shows what sports and being able to manage sports and just a class schedule now in the high school realm. It ticks up for the college level, but high schools are doing a good job of preparing, and sports especially are doing a good job of helping prepare
I
these kids
mean,
time
how many
management.
10-year-old athletes in the 90s had to worry about, time management?
Well, like I said too, outside of that, like there's just more time that goes also into it because you're playing now travel ball. Like how many
Mhm.
I mean, I know travel ball existed before, but I feel like we see a lot more kids involved in travel sports and class B sports now and stuff like that over the course of the summer. Like there's no off season anymore. And they use that as their big travel time, their big travel season to kind of see all the
Yes.
competition around the nation.
It's the same for every sport. If you're a basketball player, there's AAU that goes on into July. If you're a volleyball player, there's JO volleyball, there's club volleyball. If you're a football player, there's the camps that you have to go to try to get yourself recruited after your football season. If you're a golfer, there's golf events in the sun, whatever it may be. The off seasons are getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and time management skills are becoming more and more of a necessity at a younger age.
And I mean, that's just the ever growing society, I guess, we live in too, right? I mean, but also kids are so much, I feel like, sharper and quicker anymore. Like, how many 4-year-olds I see playing like on iPads and tablets and like just knowing exactly how to use it. And like,
Doing better at Candy Crush than I can.
yeah, yeah.
If that's not deflating, I don't know what is.
Like
Like, hey, that kid's facial recognition is better than mine. That's great.
I mean, we're advancing. Kids are just they're getting smarter. They're getting more advanced. They're more tech savvy though because it's introduced to them at a younger age, obviously. But I think it's incredible to me how many of these young kids are just able to so fluently use these tablets, these phones, and everything. But kids are maturing at younger ages, and I mean, as much as like it's impressive to say too. You also want to make sure you pump the brakes too,
Right.
and
I was about to say there are negative aspects to that you might want to, have a part of this conversation. I mean, how many we see a lot more players nowadays gas out, burn out earlier than they should. There's mental health issues all across the athletics nowadays with young kids. And so there are kind of negative effects to trying to fit so much into a time frame and trying to mature kids a little bit too fast.
yeah, and we've seen so many instances where if you try to take the kid aspect from the sport, right? You can't take you can put the kid in the sport, but you can't take the kid out of himself, right? You can't just make that player's identity that sport. You can't make it that position, that number that they wear it to, because if they don't have anything else to identify with, it can get real hazy, especially as they
Yeah,
start
but
getting older and maturing.
I think I said this back when we had the bigger show about mental health earlier in the spring. We had kind of a half an hour just completely dedicated to it. But when you work extremely hard at something to achieve a goal, if you're like grinding at it, the trap you can fall into sometimes is finding your self value and your identity in that task or that sport or that job or whatever it may be. And if you do that, and for whatever reason, whether it be injury, sickness, you know, whatever, if that job doesn't, is that if it's not there anymore, your identity kind of goes away. And that's when you find really bad mental health issues when your self value is so tied into what you do instead of who you are, if that makes sense.
It's a great point, Anthony, and I think every athlete should be able to ask themselves whether what no matter what sport it is that they play, who am I without this sport?
And I
And
think for all the negative stuff that COVID brought us, it taught a lot of kids that lesson. Like, I need to
yeah,
find something outside of sports.
and that's the thing. If you're able to answer that question, that's great. That's where you should be as an athlete. If you're not able to answer that question, maybe it's time to start making different hobbies too. Not that you need to drop the sport. Maybe it's time to take up something else too. Find
Mhm.
some time to give yourself a social life. Find some time to invest your time into other things as well, because it doesn't need to be 100% full go that sport all
If
the time.
if it is, you're gonna find yourself, down in the dumps after a bad at bat. You have one bad at bat, and you're like, "Oh man, I hate myself," because your value is wrapped in your performance instead of wrapped in who you are. And if it's a job, hey, like let's say you're an accountant and you mess up one, you mess up a number or something, or maybe I don't know, I'm trying to think of jobs that you would kind of you would work so hard, you would wrap up your value into. Construction worker, something that you love. If you have one bad day and do something like
I'd
maybe
say like a lot of artists,
not what
artist, content creators,
artist,
stuff like
yes,
that. Yeah,
artist. Like let's say a music artist puts out one song that maybe doesn't hit right, or maybe they look back and they say that was kind of a lazy song. Then all of a sudden their whole value system of how they define themselves goes in the toilet.
yeah. And we're all for right. We're all for the grind. We're all for putting in that extra time, brick by brick is our motto, right? Build up what you got, and I mean, put in that time to perfect your craft for sure. But you also need to make sure you have time for yourself as a person, because there is a life after sports. Every single athlete
Mhm.
hangs up the cleat at some time,
At some
whether it's
point, right?
at some point you're hanging them up, cleats, gloves, boxing gloves, whatever it
Despite
is.
what Tom Brady's doing right now, it's gonna
You're
happen
thinking
eventually.
about that sometime.
You
Here's the
know,
official makeup dates real quick with Mark Roth dropping them in for Creekside and Astro. August 25th and 26th.
wait a minute.
Official makeup schedule for Astro versus Creekside. A month. Over a month. How
Those
are you
rosters might be completely different because there might be guys that can't be here anymore because they're in
sure?
college.
Well, you already heard Mark Roth say August 18th. So wait a minute. So like you're gonna be using 16U guys then to play the 18U? You're gonna
Why
have
so?
to in some cases,
I don't
right?
know why so long though. I mean, I wonder why you have to wait till August 25th.
Well, he did talk about the World Series check-in date for Laredo, Texas is July 28th. Oh wait, there we go. Mark Rosman, July. There we go.
Oh,
There.
okay.
I was
Woo,
about to be like, wait a minute, what are we doing?
woo, wait, tee out.
All right, I was gonna say that makes a lot more sense.
Wait,
July 25th and 26th. Then
that will be the Monday and
you're
Tuesday
on.
after the NABF Senior and Junior World Series, which is next weekend.
My
Okay.
mind was about to be blown. I was about to be like, that is wild. Like high school
Why?
started then. High school, that's after the first football Friday, is what I was like. I'm like, how are we playing this after the first football Friday?
I don't know if you'd even be like, are you allowed to play for
I don't
a
think so. I don't
well,
think
I
they can.
guess because you're not in baseball season, you technically would be allowed to because um, you can go play fall ball with a
Yeah.
travel team.
Well, we talk about
The
baseball.
only thing that changes is the number of athletes that you can have per team once that date hits. Like, I think it's four for baseball and softball, so you can only have like four players per high school once until November 1st or something like that.
Too many dates getting thrown my way.
I know.
You're all good, brother. You're all good. We
It's-
appreciate the check-ins, though. We
It's
appreciate
trauma of history class with all these dates getting thrown at me trying to remember.
No, but we appreciate the dates. So it's July 25th and 26th. 26th is obviously the if
The
necessary.
if game.
Yeah, July 25th is the game to expect, though, to get off over at Scene Park.
So this weekend you'll have games at Scene with the sophomore series, and then next weekend you'll have games at Scene with the senior and junior series, and then right after that, to close out the season at Bob Scene Park, you'll have the continuation, or the conclusion, I should say, of the 18U Class B championships.
And that'll be exciting as well too with the with those championships. We talk about championships. We're going to be talking to a couple of champions as well from Whiting 16U here in just a few moments, as we're going to have Nick Parado coming on here just any moment at 12:30, followed by Don Bumbliss coming on at 1 o'clock from Whiting.
Yeah, hey, so we're right there.
I know. I thought you were going to take a break, but we could go right into a Nick Parado interview.
Yeah, he's here. Let's just do it. We'll hit our breaks after. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good with me. Let's bring in one of the champions from that Whiting 16U team going forward.
All right, I'm gonna switch our plate here real quick.
gotta get it all set up.
All right, there we go.
All right, how we doing, man?
Good, how are you?
Not bad. I mean, you guys have to be doing real well after getting that sweep in the championship, and
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited.
before that, you swept Astro too, and you were a big proponent. You were pitching your tail off throughout those games too. What was working for you against these teams?
Well, my fastball is not overly fast. It's probably like 78. I mean, I could maybe hit 80 on a good day, but like I would say out there like 70% curveballs, and that's like the pitch that really works for me.
You know, you're a couple of days removed from this championship, so
Right.
maybe a couple of days to reflect on what it meant, but take us through that moment and the celebration with your team, and what it was like to get that final out and realize that you guys did win the Class B championship.
Well, yeah, it was awesome. I mean, the first two games we did good. Me, game one, and Joey, game two. Game three, first inning, we went down early. It was like 4-0, and I was a little nervous. We ended up, our bats picked it up. We ended up coming back, and then last inning, we had another big rally. We ended up going like 10-8. And in the last inning, we had got the first two outs. And then last out, Corbin struck him out for the win. We were all super excited, had a big after party. I mean, it means a lot for us.
I mean, Nick, in that game too, that final game, you weren't shabby with the bat yourself. You were 2 for 4. What kind of we were just talking about time management. What kind of time do you put into your bat and your pitching, and what kind of work you put into both of those?
Yeah, it's a super big commitment. Like if you're not lifting, if you're not hitting off the tee every day, I mean, you just fall behind because kids are so much better nowadays. I'm hitting all the time, probably 4 days a week. I don't work on my pitching too much. I'm more of an infielder, but whenever I have to pitch, I fill the role and do the job.
Nick, this was a Whiting team that I think a lot of people kind of slept on coming into the Class B season, and even when you guys got off to that big start, I heard a lot of rumblings around the Class B area that, okay, we just have to wait till other teams get their roster back, yada, yada, yada. Right. And you guys never bought into that, and you just had an incredible summer, and you bounced back from a couple of stumbles towards the end to take momentum into the playoffs. When you reflect on this whole season, how special was this group, and what do you think made it so special and unique that you were able to do what you were able to do?
We just had a good group of kids. I mean, everyone likes each other. Everyone roots each other on. I mean, it's just a real good group of kids we have. Everyone works hard. I mean, when everyone's working hard, you're going to get the results we got. I mean, we swept in the playoffs 5-0.
What were the talks you had with Coach Bumbliss after you guys were slipping up in those games late in the season too? How did you generate momentum from those losses? And
I mean, we had some pretty bad losses to teams like Nightline. I mean, we should be losing those games. But like Coach said, you just forget about it, move on. But we got playoffs ahead. Let's do the job. I mean, that's what we did.
You're able to get coached in high school and then get coached in the summer. And I know both aspects, you have to have a little bit of different coaching styles in each high school season and summer season. What did you take from both, and what were some of the differences and similarities between the coaching staffs in Class B and coaching staffs in high school?
High school, most of my coaches are all older. They don't. High school, I feel like high school coaches definitely changed for the worse now. I mean, I feel like my Youngstown coach, Coach Bum, was definitely he has more of a baseball concept than my high school coach. But yeah, it was good. I mean, both coaches want to win. Both put the best nine on the field and give us the best chance to win, which I like.
On top of that, the fact that you're doing what you're doing in baseball, I know that your GPA, you rep your GPA high and proud too. You got a good one too, and
Yeah.
how do you
Yeah.
balance out the school work with being able to put in the time in the batting cages as well?
Yeah, it's tough. Like if you have a school day and say it's like game day, or you're not having a game, you have practice. School ends, you're going right down to the field, 2 hours. You go home, you have to do homework, and you're already tired. You have to go to bed. Next day, same thing. And that's 5 days a week. I mean, it's tough, but if you commit to it, I mean, that's what you have to do.
To do all that, you have to have a sense of driving yourself and a sense of, pushing yourself to always do it on the days when you don't want to. Because I'm sure there are a
Right,
lot of
right.
days when you're sitting there like,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
for
want to do
sure.
this. What's your drive and what keeps you going on those days?
I do it for my teammates. I mean, we all work together. We all play for each other, and that's really what we all do.
You talk about your teammates and the relationships you've had with teammates. Who's been one of the most impactful teammates in your baseball career that has really had, I guess, an impact on you, whether in the way they kind of helped you out, something they said to you, or something of that nature?
Yeah, I would say my friends from Cranberry, Matt and Mike Del Duca, we've been playing together for like 8 years now. If one of us falls down, we pick each other up. I mean, it's really awesome. They motivate me. I motivate them. We go to the fields all the time. I mean, even Aiden Linedecker, we always go. We work on our craft. I mean, it helps us out.
Let's talk about that baseball career and, reflect on yourself growing up as a kid and what made you fall in love with this sport and what are some of your favorite memories of playing the sport as a kid?
Yeah, I've always liked it since when I first started T-ball. I feel like the number one thing that always brings me back, I mean, obviously it's fun doing good and performing well, but like when your friends stick together, I mean, it's awesome. Like you guys have so much fun, win or lose. You have fun, hang out, cheer your teammates on. I mean, our practices, people don't like practice. I mean, our practices are awesome with all our friends. We have a good time. I mean, it's super fun.
If that game and this championship win was the most excited you've ever been on a baseball field, let me know the second. And if it wasn't the most excited, let me know what is the most excited you've ever been playing this sport.
Yeah, actually, recently when we played Astros and it was that 10-inning game, I mean, that was crazy. I mean, the energy was nuts. I mean, they had us. We came back. We battled through 10 innings, and we got the win. And when we won that series against Astros, because I believe us and Astros were the two best teams, I knew we had this in the bag, and that was just a huge win. It was crazy.
After all that, and like you said, you beat the Astro Falcons, who, in everyone's opinion, it was 1-2. How do you kind of realign yourself and stay even to go into the championship
Right.
series? Not too high, not too low.
No, right,
Try to
yeah.
stay mentally ready.
Well, we know Creekside's a good team. I mean, they have Dawson Smell, kids like that, Johnny Husband, who are super good players. You just gotta keep doing what you're doing. I mean, our bats carried us to the playoffs along with our pitching. We did that, like no errors, and it was really good, and that's what got us through.
It's another nice notch on your belt to say you're a champion over there at Scene Park.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What are some other goals you have to round out your high school career? Do you plan on having a future in this sport, or do you have any goals of having a future in this sport?
Yeah, I hope a big goal of ours as a high school team is we want to win states, win Whippeals. I think our core of kids we have is super good and talented that we can definitely do that. Maybe this year, if not for sure next year, for senior year. And yeah, I definitely want to play baseball in college. I mean, I love the sport, and I definitely want to keep pursuing it.
Coming to us from Pennsylvania, what kind of travel is it to Scene Park, and what makes that travel so much worth it?
Right, it's about an hour, but that hour is nothing for the experience up there. I mean, 3 fields. Field one's awesome. The competition's awesome. I mean, the stuff you see up there is great, and that's why I play up there. I mean, if you're getting ready for college, I mean, the competition you see there is definitely getting you ready more than any other league that you'll see.
What is some of the best advice that you've received in your baseball career?
Definitely just your mental space. I mean, if you go 0 for 4, 0 for 5, you got to forget about it and move on. I mean, you'll fall into an 0 for 20 slump. I mean, if you have a bad play, make an error, forget about the next one and move on. Have a quick reset button.
Have you ever gotten or even heard in your baseball career, like really advice that now is not really great advice, or what's kind of a misconception in baseball that you hear people try to coach people up, and you're like, that's not right.
Yeah. Sometimes coaches that give leads, they'll be like they'll be like left, right, left, right. I mean, a lead's a lead. I mean, get a good lead, and that's fine. They like preach about it. I mean, simple things like that.
What are some of your baseball pet peeves that, like, if a person does it, or if an opposing team does it, it literally gets under your skin?
Yeah, I get super mad when people on our team don't hustle or like have energy in the dugout. I mean, I'm always yelling, have some energy, because I mean, if someone's pitching and you guys are making noise and you have energy, I mean, I know what it's like as a pitcher. I mean, they're just not going to throw strikes. And then just hustle. Like if someone's like jogging or something, I'll tell them like, let's go. Like this is baseball. Like, we're hustling. We're trying to get a win here.
You talked about the advice of having that mental space and avoiding falling into those slumps. Do you have any personal experiences of a time where you were struggling in your baseball career that you had to come out of it, and how did you do so?
I mean, yeah, everyone goes into slumps. I mean, I've been in a slump myself. Everyone has. You should go back to the tee, go back to basics, do what you know, forget about it, go into that box. I mean, people think about all kind of things. Don't think about anything. I mean, do what you do best, and then the hits start coming.
Before we had you on, we were having a conversation about players finding their identity outside of the sport. So outside of baseball, what kind of things do you try to, are you good at? What kind of things do you like to do? And if, God forbid, one day baseball was taken away from you
Right.
unexpectedly, what kind of things would you lean on?
Yeah, I love hanging out with my friends. Like I said, I mean, we hang out all the time. Hang out at each other's houses, play football, stuff like that. I love watching like football, baseball. I mean, I love sports. Watch it, play it all the time, and love hanging out with friends, like going and doing things.
Do you have any hidden talents, I guess, or something that you're really good at outside of obviously baseball?
No hidden talents. I mean, I play Xbox. I mean, I'm decent at it, but no like super hidden talents. Yeah.
What do you play if you're going on Xbox?
I'm really big into Madden. That's definitely my favorite game.
Who's
What's-
the team?
Yep.
I play as the Buccaneers. Offense is really good.
He knows it, Ant. He knows it. He's
know.
got to
Yeah.
That hurts. I don't know if you saw before we put you full screen, but I got a Chiefs towel on my door, and I'm a big Kansas City fan. So
Oh boy.
Bucks hurt.
Yeah, that was
hurt.
rough.
When you look at things and some of your favorite people to root for, professional teams, college teams, who do you get the most passionate about?
Yeah, I'm a big Miami Hurricane college football fan.
All right.
I watch them every year. They're disappointing every year, but I still root them on.
How did that come about? Was your family a Miami fan? Did you dislike them growing up?
Yeah, my first college football game my dad took me to was a Miami game. I was real little. I mean, I didn't know what was going on. And I just really started liking them, and ever since, I mean, I've just always been cheering them on.
Are you too young to get into arguments about the 2003 championship with Ohio State fans?
No, yeah, I'm definitely too young for that.
Let's talk about the baseball career again a bit. With baseball though, Ant talked about the professional athletes. I guess we could say professional or just high school athletes. Was there any kind of play style, or have you watched a professional athlete that you've tried to implement their play style into yours maybe a little bit, or mock maybe?
Yeah, right. Definitely someone I look up to and watch is Mike Trout. I mean, no one does it like him. He's a work ethic. I mean, that guy puts in the work more than anyone. You see the results he gets. It's crazy. I mean, that dude never has a bad game ever.
All right,
I
what
try
are
to
some of
work on
your
my swing on him.
What are some of your favorite subjects in school? You have that high GPA we talked about earlier. What do you like to learn about?
I like history. That always intrigues me. I'm not a big English fan. Math isn't bad, but yeah, I would definitely say history is my favorite.
All right, since you picked history, if we could give you a time machine and you could go back to any point in history, where would you want to go back to?
I'd probably say 1900. See what's going on.
Is there any historical figure that you would really want to meet?
Yeah, I feel like Albert Einstein would be pretty cool.
Ooh.
Talk
Yeah,
to
he'd definitely be the first one.
Oh man, Nick, like we like to do with all of our athletes too, before we let you go, we always like to give you guys the chance to shout out your support system, those people that have been in the stands for you, cheering you on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely have a shout out to my coaches on Whiting, my Seneca Valley boys, Whiting, And it goes shout out to my parents and my dad and everything he does for me. It sets me up for success.
All right, Nick, thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations on that Class B championship. We loved covering you all summer. We look forward to having you back in Class B next year.
Yep, thank you for having me.
That was Nick Parado, one of the members of that championship Whiting 16U team that won the championship. I believe the day was Saturday. They clinched it, if I'm not mistaken.
Whiting's got personality for days as well too. These kids from Whiting, man, they all have a personality.
Can we talk about how slick their new golds are? Like last year, they wore kind of I think they had like the old White Sox kind of thing with the stripe down the middle with Whiting, and it was kind of like black and like yellow. And I don't know if one says gold, but black and the yellow gold. But now they have that Vandy look with the black on the gold and the star. I mean, it's pretty much Vandy with a W, but I love it.
It looks slick too, and it was a nice look for them as well. But yeah, Whiting winning a 16U championship.
Maybe there's some truth in look good, feel good, play good, right?
Yeah, honestly, we're not done with Whiting either. 1 o'clock, we're going to be having Dom Bumbliss come on to talk to. He's another one of those arms and bats inside that Whiting lineup too. So he's really known too for what he was doing pitching wise in this tournament. So we're going to get a chance to talk to him a little bit later.
He also gets to call Coach Dad. So let's talk about that relationship and that dynamic as well. But first, let's pay some bills and say hi to our wonderful sponsors and take a little bit of a break. We'll be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring PGA professionals, golf instruction, a players' rewards club, kids programs, and a pro shop and grill room for a memorable golf experience. Call or click to schedule your tee time at Mill Creek Golf Course.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers. From sales to financing and even service, we'll help build your perfect vehicle.
And lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Now is the time to think about your future, where you want to go, what you want to be. Your future can start now at Kent State Salem or Kent State East Liverpool. We have programs that will open doors and provide opportunities for you to pursue your passion. We are affordable, we are close. You call it hometown, we call it Kent State University. Learn more at www.kent.edu/Columbiana. You belong here.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell as we continue into this Thursday edition of Running Point, and it is going to be our last edition of the week because, Ty, we're both putting in work tomorrow to get games on the network. One, I will be with the last weekend of the season for the Steel Valley Storm in Columbus, and you have games at Scene Park for the NABF Sophomore World Series. You'll be pulling up into Scene Park at, I believe, 10 a.m. is your game.
Yeah. So we're going to both be at games tomorrow for YSN, but hey, I'm excited to be a part of the NABF again. I got a chance to see some of these athletes last year too, but I didn't get to see the sophomore side. So I'm excited to see the sophomore side this year and see some really young talent come into this game.
Hi, we're going to have Don Bumless come on at 1 o'clock, but while we have a couple of minutes, one of the things I want to do is congratulate a young man in West Branch named Jed Smith, who has officially found a landing spot to play basketball in college. And if you didn't know his story, he was a starting point guard in 2021. He averaged, I think, just under 10 a game, but he was one of the point guards that just absolutely selflessly gave up his average points per game to help the team win. Always team first. He was a 5'10" point guard, which is really hard to contend with. But a knee injury in football kind of took away his senior year for basketball. So he could not play last basketball season, but he never let it get him down. He fought through the adversity. He got through it. And because of that, he has found a landing spot in college at Wilmington, which is, I believe, just outside of Cincinnati, a member of that Ohio Athletic Conference, the OAC. So it's going to be awesome to see him kind of be able to revive his basketball career at the next level, despite losing his senior season, unfortunately.
Yeah, you always love to see those kind of stories where players get a kind of chance at redemption, and not many do get that kind of second chance at redemption. So he's gonna take it and he's gonna run with it, and we wish him the best of luck in all those future endeavors, and we hope we're hearing about Jed Smith for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we talked about some of our favorite parts of being with YSN, and I said stories, and that's one of the stories you just love to tell. A kid that, not fair. It's not a fair situation to be put in to say, you're going to lose the sport that you love the most with an injury that takes away your senior season, but not letting that unfairness of life. The universe isn't fair. Life isn't fair. Something you learn. Hopefully, you don't have to learn too early, but you're going to learn at some point in life that things don't happen when you want them to, and they don't happen when you plan them to. They just happen. And to be able to just kind of stay the course. I know we talked about that yesterday too, staying the course in adversity. To be able to stay the course and keep working, keep grinding, rehab yourself, and get yourself to a point when you can find yourself on a college roster. Incredible. And we can't wait to see what he does in his college career.
Yeah, no doubt. We're always excited to see what our athletes that make it to the next level are able to do, and we of course continue to wish the best of luck to them. And for Jed, it's no different too. We're hoping for a very frivolous career.
And what makes me most excited about the fact that he gets to have this opportunity is what I said at the top. He was a selfless point guard that probably sacrificed 5 or 6 points per game in his average. I mean, he probably could average 15, 16 points per, but he did that to find other people, distribute the ball. And, I think West Branch was 18-7 2 years ago in 2021. Pretty good, pretty decent basketball team. And he had a lot of people to distribute to with Jackson Hendershot and Drew DeShields. So he knew how to get the ball to his scorers, and he sacrificed probably 6 points per game just to help his team win. Great point guards pass up good shots for great shots, and he did that a lot. So those guys that have that kind of team first mindset are the ones that you want to see succeed the most. So the fact that he was able to still find a spot and he has that attitude is one of the things that makes that story great.
Absolutely. We're going to be excited to continue following him.
So congratulations to Jed on his spot at Wilmington. And once again, that is just outside of Cincinnati. So if you ever want to go see Jed play basketball, he won't be too far away. You can make sure to find him at a basketball court near you. Ty, the NABF sophomore series starts today, and it is 6 games tonight. And let's look at this schedule real quick while we are awaiting Don Bumbliss. Avalanche will take on the Ohio Longhorns at 5:30 to kick things off on scene 1. At 5:30 on scene 2, it's going to be Ballistic Baseball against Fielder's Choice. And then on scene 3 at 5:30, it is going to be Whiting against the Pittsburgh Spikes Long. So those will be the 5:30 games. At 8 o'clock on scene 1, we'll go back to scene 1. Astro Falcons take on the Pittsburgh Spikes. And then at 8 o'clock on scene 2, you're going to have the Yukon Miners against the Wheat Hills 14U team. And then at 8 o'clock on scene 3, last but not least, to close out the night, you're going to have the Brunswick Junior Orioles against the Northern Ohio Canes on scene 3 at 8 o'clock. All those games are going to be on ysnlive.com. You look at the pools for this this series. There's going to be 3 pools A, B, and C, all made up of 4 teams. So that's a total of 12 teams in the NABF sophomore series, including some teams you're familiar with. The Astro Falcons are in pool A, Avalanche is in pool B, and then Ballistic Baseball and Whiting are both in pool C. So some teams you're familiar with if you were fans of the Class B season that you'll be able to see again this weekend as they venture on into an NABF tournament.
I love this tournament time too, and it's always going to be fun watching all those games on the network. We're going to have literally covered from morning to evening of baseball for you, and some high quality baseball at that. You're not going to want to miss these games, folks.
And one of the things that isn't talked about enough, but I think is really cool when you look at the NABF, what it does for our valley. I mean, you have teams coming in from all over Ohio, all over the country, really, to play at Youngstown. So they have to stay in hotels, they have to eat at restaurants. So the economy of Youngstown greatly impacted by this NABF series, which is why it was such a bummer a couple of years ago when we couldn't have it because of COVID.
Yeah, COVID obviously took out a lot of things too for us, but getting this back is huge too, because just seeing, like I said, so much baseball talent from all over the northeastern part of the nation, and even sometimes further than that, kind of show up in one place, and it's local. I mean, how much cooler can it get?
Don't you just love that we're able to have a facility in our area that attracts so many teams from so many different areas? I mean, they could have picked other facilities in other states maybe, but they love Bobsine Park for a reason, because it's one of the best facilities probably in the tri-state area, and everyone comes to Youngstown for this NABF World Series instead of somewhere else.
We need to get Steve Leslie on to talk about Bobsine Park and how crazy it gets at this time of the year.
Put out the Steve signal.
Yeah, I know, it's about time. I think with the scene, the playoffs for Scene Park concluding here in the next few weeks, as well as the NABF tournament going on, I think it's almost perfect time to bring Steve on again.
He's the general manager we deserve.
Yeah, and he's the man of many hats too for the area.
So I guess we'll have to start calling him the Dark Knight, since I used all those Batman references.
Yeah, for sure. Just call him the Dark Knight.
I know.
I like it.
Silent Protector.
There you go. Oh man. But now we're going to be talking with Don Bumbliss here in just a minute, and just to give you a little bit of a preview, Don Bumbliss was a guy who took the baseball for 5 innings in that final win against Creekside 10-8, and I mean really just battled through and through. Allowed some runs throughout the way, but he was the one that that ultimately, I believe, got the win in that effort too. So he was the winning pitcher in that game going forward, and ultimately what led to Whiting winning the championship.
Wasn't his first win on the mound at all through the season either. I mean, he was on. It seemed like every big game that Whiting really needed. It seemed like Don Publius got on the mound.
Yeah, he pitched some big innings throughout the season too, and continuing to learn, continuing to grow. And he also has, I mean, obviously a great coach and father right there too, to kind of help him out as well, lead him along the way. So I mean, how else? What more can you ask for if you're Don Publius?
I don't know what else you could ask for. Maybe some birthday cake. I don't know, brownies, popcorn.
But no, they obviously Whiting put together some really impressive sweeps along the way, and it led to them getting their championship this year after falling and dropping a couple games late in the season. They were able to pick it right back up.
Steve's alter ego is officially the Silver Fox.
I love it. I love it. Here's another one too. And you talk about the hats. Dom's rocking that sweet hat
I love it.
as well too for Whiting as well. Dom, how we doing, brother?
Great, you guys?
We're doing good, Dom. Probably not as good as you, because you got to celebrate a championship not too long ago. I know you're a couple of days removed from that moment, but reflect on it. Take us through what it was like to celebrate with your team and what it meant to you to win that championship.
Oh, it was great. Obviously, I started on the mound and pitched well, but the guys really just carried us through with the bats. And then Corbin Sevick came in to close it out, and he did what he did. So
you were battling through and through too, and this seemed like a game where both teams were leaving it all out. You had some huge innings though of run support. What kind of confidence did it give you after that second and third inning when they were able to put 10 runs on the board for you to go out there and just do your job?
it just made it really easy on me. I felt like I can make a little mistake and they'll be able to be there and pick me up. So it just gives you a lot of confidence to go out there and throw your best stuff.
This summer was a great opportunity for you to grow and learn about yourself as a pitcher. What kind of things did you set as personal goals for the summer, and how much did you kind of grow from this experience this year in the Class B level?
Yeah, so this summer I just really wanted to work on myself and just trying any chance I get to help the team out as much as I can. As last year, I mean, I played, but I didn't help as much as I could have. But this year, I really just strived to help the team out in any way that I could.
We've heard so many players that have played in this league talk about the competition level and just how helpful it's been to their baseball career. Can you attest to that too? And can you speak on personal experience on that as well?
Yeah, the competition's so good there. I mean, Creekside's top 5 batters were just, you couldn't get out of there without giving up a run, and just makes you appreciate more the innings where you do get the zeros. And playing for the school, the competition's good, but the competition is just the next level here.
We've heard so many stories about the energy that Whiting fans bring to the stadium. What do you think about the energy that the Whiting fans bring, and how much did it help you guys this summer?
It helps a lot. I mean, at the final game and the games leading up to the championship, there were so many fans of ours there. I mean, everyone's parents, grandparents, cousins, girlfriend, everybody was there. Just made for a really cool atmosphere.
Did you guys have a chip on your shoulder after the end of the regular season, seeing Avalanche sitting atop of those standings?
Definitely, because we felt like we played a really good season, but still couldn't lock down that 1 seed. So we just tried to carry the momentum into the postseason and show people who we were, what we could do.
We asked Nick Parada this. He was on a little bit before you, but like Ty said, you stumbled a little bit heading into the playoffs, but you found momentum right into the playoffs, and you swept right through those playoff series that you were in. What conversations were had to kind of reset yourselves and find momentum going into the playoffs?
Yeah, at the end of the regular season, we played a lot of games without our full roster, but so we knew once we got people back, we'd be good, and everyone just stayed motivated. Nobody got worried, and we just came back and regrouped.
When did you know you were going to get some innings on the mound in Game 3? Was there a discussion the night before with Coach, or did you guys did you have a game plan going into that? What were some things he was talking to you about before that game?
Yeah, I knew pretty early on I was going to have to throw because going into the postseason, our number 2 and number 3 pitcher actually couldn't make any of the playoffs. Brady Mayo was playing basketball in Ocean City for a tournament he couldn't miss, and Isaac Berry had some tricky work hours he couldn't really work around. So a lot of the guys knew we're going to have to step up, and I haven't thrown much this season, but I knew I was going to have to throw in an important game.
And that's the thing about playing in summer. I mean, all other things are kind of pulling you away, whether it be, a team players want to go on vacation, players have other sports they're playing. I'm sure you have other things that you were busy with in the summer. What kind of time management skills have you learned about yourself throughout, this summer and this baseball season?
Yeah, definitely. It's the season's taught me more to not procrastinate. Like, don't say I'm gonna go hit on the tee later or something. Like, you gotta go do it when you have the time. Because playing with so many other sports, just gotta do stuff when you can do it and not put it off.
To kind of coincide with that, what's some advice that you've gotten throughout your career that you really kind of hold dear to yourself?
One piece is definitely like play every game like your last. Like, leave it all out there. Because if you don't leave it all out there, you're not giving everything you got. Just give it all.
If you could play any sport outside of baseball or a sport that you don't play right now, what sport would you want to kind of throw your hat into?
Ooh, probably basketball. I do play basketball for the school, but definitely focus more on the other sports than it.
You talk about your baseball career. When did your baseball career start, and when did you start finding yourself falling in love with this sport?
Long time ago. I mean, ever since T-ball, I would always watch the Pirates and wanted to be just like them. Ever since then, I always fell in love, and my dad was always there coaching me, so it made it tricky at times, but it just made me love the sport even more.
So we have to talk about the dynamic between you and your dad and what it's like to call him coach and be able to talk with him about baseball after the games and the rides home and sometimes nights at home. What's that dynamic been like for you and what's it mean to you to have him as a coach?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time it's awesome. Some of the time it can lead for a rough car ride home, but just always having him there for you, being able to talk to him about the games or like what he thinks. Like, he rarely ever misses games, although he missed a few this year for my sister's softball, but he's always there for me.
Is there a phrase or a statement that he likes to say a lot to you?
Yeah, he likes to say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Like, when times get tough, you got to be able to step up.
Is there something that he was adamant about with you at a younger age that you maybe disagreed with him back then that you look back on now and say, "Oh man, you were right."
Too many things, man. Like, there's always something that I'll say now and be like, I've been telling you that for years. It's just a lot of little stuff.
When you look at it, and like you said, your sister plays softball. It's a family of competitive people. Who's the most competitive person in your household?
Me, definitely.
Who wins in family game night?
My dad, he's really tricky to beat, but it happens every once in a while.
Is there a go-to family game?
Definitely Catan, yeah.
Ooh, I've seen a few people play it. I'm trying to get into that game as well too. I've seen a lot of people
Yeah.
get into it recently. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about food though, because I feel like baseball players are synonymous with post game meals too. What's your favorite post game meal?
Obviously the cheeseburgers are really good over there at Scene, but I love a good soft pretzel with cheese.
Who's the best cook in your house, and what's their best dish?
My dad makes a pretty good steak. A really
Mm.
good steak. Yeah.
How do you take your steak?
Medium rare. Nice pink in the middle.
Ooh,
He knows it. He knows it, and
Yep.
that's a man that knows his steak.
that's it. None of that medium well stuff. No one likes that. You gotta have pink. You gotta have some red in
Yep.
there too. What's your like outside? Obviously, he makes great steaks. Do you have a favorite steakhouse?
Longhorn.
There
Yeah,
you go.
Longhorn.
Breadsticks for days.
What is that? What's some of your favorite activities to do to hang out with friends and do outside of obviously playing baseball? What is something you like to go hang out with friends and do?
I like swimming with people. That's always fun. But I always see a lot of my friends I run cross country and track with, so it's always good to just go on a run and talk to people while you do it, catch up a bit.
All right, what's one thing that you spend a lot of money on that you probably shouldn't?
Oh, probably like PlayStation.
That's a big drop right there. What was
Yeah.
your last impulse buy?
Me and my dad were actually in the Madden a few months ago, and whenever there's a new promo, sometimes we'd impulse buy some packs to upgrade the team.
I love the fact that your dad's in with the Madden packs too. You gotta give a preview.
Yep.
What's this ultimate team looking like then? If you're
Oh, our ultimate team was pretty good. He would always play the offense, and then I'd play the defense for every game. So like, and then every now and then we'd switch. But we did a we had a Vikings theme team for most of the year before switching to a Lions theme team. So
A
pretty
Vikings
fun.
theme team.
Yeah,
What
I like
what
Adrian Peterson. So
all day? What's the go like? What's your favorite NFL team that you root for?
Lions, Detroit Lions.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
not much to root for.
Yeah, not much. Is that who you play as in Madden too? If you're gonna pick a team,
No,
He's like, nah.
you can't be getting wins with those. Who's your go-to team in that?
I like the Seahawks. I guess Russell Wilson's not there now, but I like to have a mobile quarterback.
You got to go and be the Lions in franchise mode. That way you can at least pretend like they're good.
Yeah, rebuild them a bit.
Rebuild the franchise. When you look at kind of the things that you do to kind of calm your mind, and I know baseball can get really hectic, and you got to have a cool mindset. What are some of your routines that you do to kind of cool yourself down and make sure you're in the right mindset?
Especially when I know I'm gonna pitch. Like before that last game, the championship, like I had cross country in the morning, so a good shakeout run, like 7-8 miles in the morning, always helps relax the mind and recover the arm a bit.
Okay, so you're a runner. I have to ask, like, how much do you run on average on a week?
Uh, I think I'm up to 45, 50-ish miles right now, around there. Yeah.
I gotta ask because I feel like both in cross country and baseball, you rely so much on mental toughness too to kind of keep yourself pushing and to keep yourself even too. Do you find any parallels in the way you approach both of those sports? And if so, where do you see parallels? And obviously there's differences, but do you see any similarities? And if so, what are they?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, both sports are like extremely mentally. Like in cross country, like if you lose focus for a second, like you're gonna slow down. But in like baseball, if you're not ready for one pitch and the ball's hit you, it's gonna be rough to make the play. Normally make an error when you're not ready.
Where is the toughest cross country course you've had to run in?
Ooh, Cal U for whip mules. Cal U has a really rough hill that will get really muddy after some rain. Makes it tough. A lot of people fall on the way down.
Mm.
What is talk about stay on theme? What was the toughest thing about baseball that you've had to adjust to and find success in over your career?
Definitely a few years ago, like everyone started to grow, and I sort of stayed small, and that really discouraged me at the plate a bit. It made it really hard. Obviously, like, I can't just throw my hands and get lucky and get a hit. I have to be perfect every time up there just to get a hit.
Do you like pitching more than hitting? Do you have a preference?
Definitely pitching more because I feel like the game's more in my control. Get to touch the ball every play.
What was the hardest pitch that you have to develop?
Probably the curveball. It took a while. I was sort of natural, but it still takes a lot of practice to know where it's going to go, where it's going to break to.
Is that your favorite pitch to throw?
Yeah, I throw it so much because
Well,
my fastball doesn't have much velocity, so I live on the curve.
I have a feeling too, because I've talked with plenty of pitchers that have they're just random bullpen sessions, and they throw a variety of just mess around pitches too. What's your favorite mess around pitch that you've thrown in a bullpen session that actually worked for like a pitcher too?
I've been messing around a lot in warm-ups with a splitter. It's because it doesn't spin much, sort of like a knuckleball, but it's really, really slow. So.
What are some of your future goals, things that you want to see from yourself in the next couple of years, and avenues of life that you want to kind of go into?
I just want to keep using sports to grow as a person and maybe play at the next level, but try and become more successful in school and just get ready for the next level.
All right, Dom, it's been great talking with you. Before we let you go, we always like to give our student athletes a chance to thank their support system and those people that have been there cheering them along the way.
Oh, yeah, definitely shout out to all the guys over there at Whiting. I mean, we're pretty much a family. Shout out to my parents, my grandparents that are almost every game, my sister, and all the other coaches I've had for high school and stuff like that.
All right, Dom, thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations on the championship earlier this week. We loved covering you all season on YSN, and we look forward to covering you again when you come back next year for Class B.
Thank you.
Don Bumless, one of the great members of that Whiting 16U championship team who pitched in that championship game.
Got the win.
Clinched with.
Got the win. Got the final win of the season. He got
that dub.
He got that dub. Final win of the season. Got the dub.
I wonder if they all hold up the W's. Like it's because it's Whiting. It's Dub City.
You got to go
a little bit.
Right. I love. How can you not love the story that Whiting put together this season too? Right. Like I mean,
dark horse, man.
Yeah, they're awesome too. Like that whole story's been awesome, and the motivation that this Whiting team generated from dropping those games. Like you want to talk about like playing angry and like using anger to motivate you. They heard the doubters after Avalanche grabbed top seed. Everyone was thinking, all right, this is just.
They heard the doubters even when they were 10-1.
Yeah. I think so as well. I think once they started slipping up, it was all those people saying, all right, it's the same old Whiting team. Right. Here's the same old Whiting team again. And then they came out, emphatically sweep Astro, two games, nothing. And then they take a sweep to Creekside. No chance for any team once Whiting started that tournament. There was no chance.
And that's what makes teams great, right? The ability to say we're better than you and we know it and have that kind of swag.
Like I've said too, it's not like they had a cakewalk to the championship. They beat two well-established teams in Astro and then Creekside and swept them. Did not drop a game to either of them. 5 consecutive victories against Astro and Creekside. How many teams can say they've done that? How many teams can say they've gone 4-0 against Astro in a season? Like it's incredible to what Whiting has done this year.
So we have a champion in 14U with the Astro Falcons winning that division. We have a champion in 16U with Whiting winning that division. Just waiting for that 18U. We'll have to wait a little bit longer because that has been pushed back to July 25th, the Monday after the senior and junior NABF World Series concludes at Scene Park. So a week from Monday will be the conclusion of the 5-game series between the Falcons and Creekside. Falcons currently lead that 2-1 heading into game 4.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be interesting to see with that much time in between how this is going to affect this game.
That means even if they got last night off and Creekside won, they would have to delay game 5.
But if you delay game 5, everyone's going to be rested up. Your best, my best game for the championship.
It's going to be best versus best.
Yeah. For 2 games now. For 2 games. So they're going to have great pitching.
Are they though? Because the Astro Falcons are going to be playing in that NABF World Series, and I think Creekside will be too.
You know what? That's true, and I didn't think about that. That's going to affect some things too going forward.
Do you strategize the NABF to keep people for the Class B championships? What one do you put more weight on? Like that?
That's an interesting question going forward. We'll have to see what they do. I mean, obviously, coaching will figure it out. They'll be able to put the right guys in the right positions, and we're gonna see some good baseball regardless, whether it's NABF or this tournament.
And then right after you're done with that, if you're Astro Falcons, you go to Palermo.
Yeah, you got to go to Laredo, Texas for the Palomino World Series.
Palomino, sorry, I don't know why I said Palermo.
You're thinking Cary Palermo.
I know.
You're thinking Mooney basketball.
I'm thinking Mooney basketball. Cary, where are we coming?
The Palomino World Series. That's going to be down in Laredo, Texas too, and I believe we had the date on that. What did Mark?
The check-in date was the 28th.
Yeah. So we'll be staying tuned with that too. We'll be seeing what these athletes are going to be able to do. They also have college check-ins as well going on at some point. So it's going to be interesting to see how time management's going to be able to work out for all this, for all these athletes to be able to be there.
Ty, the weekend before that, the Mahoning Valley Scrappers will return home on July 22nd, and they will kick off that homestand with a Down Syndrome Awareness Night and a specialty team jersey auction on Friday the 22nd. So when the Scrappers return, you got to make sure to get out and get one of those really cool jerseys and support the Down Syndrome Awareness Night, as the Scrappers do a wonderful job once again with the outreach of people that in the area that fight with disabilities.
Yeah, get out here and support the Scrappers too as they come back for a homestand. Here we go. If they were to play each other in the tournament, make it count for the Class B.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
I
Hey,
like
you know what? We won the NABF
Double
championship
it
game, so
down.
that's this game 4. We're done.
Like, oh my goodness, it's like that's like when you're trying to go for like the undisputed world championship at WrestleMania. Like, what are you doing? We're gonna say NABF World Championship and the and the Class B World Championship in this one game, both titles on the line. Let's go. Oh man, what did we just say?
You know, that's what college football used to be but even back before the BCS. They just played bowl games, and it was whoever had the AP, number one after the end of the season. So you were playing a bowl game, but you were also probably playing the championship. But it wasn't called the championship yet, so you were kind of playing both.
Yeah. So it's just, it doubles down as both. One thing I want to talk about, and I know we're going to probably be getting into our second break before we get into our preview of tonight's games and we start talking a little bit of this NABF. Interesting topic too. I've seen shared all over social media. PA is allowing high school students to get paid on NIL, name, image, and likeness. I think it's an interesting discussion to bring up. It's getting closer to home, and it's something
Or
that
to say voting on it.
Yeah, I know they voted on it and they declined it, but it's getting closer to
Now
home.
PA
too.
says thumbs up, right? So,
And with us having some coverage of PIAA schools now too, and opening that avenue, we're going to start having to look at that and having a little bit of discussions. I think it's interesting though, because I've seen all kinds of things flowing. It happened directly after our show, I think, is when they approved it, sometime after our show, and then I saw it flooding on social. So I thought it was an interesting discussion to bring up too, and something we can maybe toss the hat around here on a Thursday episode of Running Point.
it's a deep discussion, right? Because like at the one point you're like, I don't know if high school kids should be like having to treat their sport like a job, but at the same time, like if you're a really good athlete, you should be able to make money off your name, right? I mean, if you're going like, if you're just like trying to go back into my high school days, one of the big names in the area was Keys Teague for Ursuline, who went and won like 2 straight championships and was pretty much an unstoppable running back for Ursuline. Like, I think he would have gotten a couple of deals in high school if NIL was a thing, right? Bo Brungard would have probably gotten a couple of local deals.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You know,
especially in that new Middletown community. Are you kidding me?
With his lineage at YSU and with his father and everything, he probably would have gotten a couple of deals with the NIL. Now, the discussion is: should kids be allowed to do it? It's dangerous. It's dangerous because how quickly that can go bad, right? At the surface, oh man, it's good for the kids. They can make money off their name, but then you know, like that means you have to sign a contract. You know, that means you have to, abide. People can take advantage of a 15-year-old that doesn't read all the way through the contract or doesn't have someone that is with them that knows how to read through a contract and all that mucky stuff that goes with money, because money makes people very shisty or very sketchy. The fact that I'm putting money on the table for you, they're not exactly going to have your best intentions in mind, right? So it gets real murky when you talk about 14 to 16-year-old kids getting money on their sport attributes.
Well, also too, like there's what's stopping some of these schools too. I mean, especially in the college scene, but I can even see in some of the high school scenes, what's stopping these schools too from, like, if a sponsor is offering a kid a sponsorship deal, one kid, what's stopping from the school going, okay, I'll give you the whole team. We'll give you a patch on the jersey for this amount of money. Don't give the money there, give the money here, and I'll get you more looks, more players, and then that player has to wear it anyway because you did it through the school and you're playing for the school. So like I feel like that's where you get kind of in those murky waters, and it becomes kind of confusing on like, well, where do we draw the line in sponsorships, and like how far can you use your name, image, and likeness?
One of the things that came up with college was, what if the school is a Nike school, but the kid wants to sign with Adidas, and Adidas says, we want you to wear like our shoe or whatever, or our socks or whatever it may be. But the school is a Nike school, so you can't wear the Nike. You have to wear the Nike uniform. I think the thing with local sponsorships might go the same way. Like, what if the local car dealer wants to sign the quarterback, but the other local car dealer is the title sponsor of the stadium? Like, where does that kind of go into things?
Yeah, exactly. And then they're gonna try to do that where if they could take one player or the best player, like Adidas, of course, is gonna do that. If you could get Adidas shoes in a Nike stadium, you're of course gonna jump on that opportunity.
That would be.
You're gonna invade if you can. And the same thing, like even in a high school realm, you're absolutely right. There's another local car dealership that would like to take advantage of that.
I didn't want to like point out a name, but like Greenwood Field. So like, what if another local? What if like someone that's in the family of another local car dealership wanted to sponsor their kid, even if it was someone as harmless as that, but it's still a local car dealership and it's not Greenwood? That gets murky, right? Like,
it's really murky, right? I mean, all I feel like is it just becomes a lot more legal discussions and a lot more contracts that need to be written up, and a lot more like 16-year-olds are gonna need lawyers. Like literal lawyers, they're gonna need a family lawyer.
There's gonna have to be a high school class on NIL, and kids are gonna have a requirement if they're an athlete to take this NIL class, and
then you worry about the kids that can't have like that legal representation to look over contracts, like you said, and how many of these companies are going to try to take advantage of that and get them on the cheap, or get them to sign up for something that they have no idea what they're signing up for.
Right. That's the biggest thing I worry about: signing something that you have no idea what you're actually signing. And that can happen really quick, even with adults, right? It happens with adults. So if it can happen to adults, it can definitely happen to kids.
You tell a 16-year-old, we're going to give you $1,000 every 2 weeks. You just sign this contract, and
okay.
Like a lot of 16-year-olds are going to say, you don't have to do anything. We'll give you $1,000 every 2 weeks. Just sign this contract. Like,
it doesn't. It makes the $100 handshake legal though.
Yeah. Oh man.
OBJ can go to the high school and be like, "Hey, what's up?
$100. I love this comment though. Pennsylvania kids get paid Ohio kids to wear jewelry. Ohio allows kids to wear jewelry. That's it. That's
it. Maybe if it like with the caveat
only
that
with baseball.
With the caveat that it doesn't it put you in danger of getting injured, which is also to the discretion of the umpire. So the umpire could say, that earring that could get you hurt, so let's get you out of there.
OHSA just loves riding the fence. I think they're just like, well, we can allow jewelry, but only if the umpire says they can. So the umpire could still just say all the stuff that he didn't allow before isn't allowed again.
That ring that's gonna get your finger hurt. I don't want to. No, we're gonna have to take that off.
Take all the jewelry off.
All that rubber wristband on your wrist. That's dangerous. Got to take it off.
Circulation. Got to get circulation.
That rubber band on your ankle, no, it's gotta go.
But no, for this NIL, I think it's just an interesting discussion, and it's one we should be having a lot more too, because it's happening closer and closer to home, and I feel like it's inevitable that it's going to keep getting brought to the surface with Ohio. We're going to keep having this discussion again.
If Pennsylvania lets it happen, then Kentucky lets it happen, then Indiana lets it happen, and it's like Ohio's going to be in this squeeze where they're the only state in the like tri-state area that doesn't have
risk losing athletes, and then you risk athletes just straight up leaving to go.
I hate the fact that like people would like move to Kentucky to get an NIL deal, but they probably would. Like if you're a quarterback, or Pennsylvania even more, like if you're a quarterback on the border here in Youngstown, especially because we're on the border, and you're looking across at Pennsylvania, and you're you're a D1 commit quarterback, I can go make money over there.
I still make money, pad my pockets a little bit while I'm in high school. And I mean, That's what you risk losing, right? Because now you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place where it's like, now if Pennsylvania allows it, if you, like you said, Kentucky, Indiana, if these states around you start allowing it and you're the only one that's holding out, I feel like it's inevitable that, I don't know the percentage, and it might not be a large percentage. I couldn't give the figures on that, but there's going to be a percentage of athletes that are going to leave to go to these other states, especially the ones on these borders.
The border schools, so the
Mhm.
Cincinnati schools, the Toledo schools.
And how much talent is hosted in those Cincinnati areas, these Cleveland, Akron areas too, that aren't that far from a Pennsylvania move, especially too. So we see kids too drive from Pennsylvania down to Scene Park. You don't think they'll drive an hour and a half to go to school too?
I mean,
Like,
who wouldn't make that decision? Like, especially if you're like a parent and you're struggling financially, huh?
My kid can bring in 1,000 or something like that. Like,
All we have to do is move to Pennsylvania, and my kid can really help me out financially, huh? It's whether we like it or not. I think it's eventually going to happen. I think it's inevitable now.
I mean, like we said, I know a lot of people were overjoyed when Ohio didn't, to kind of keep that purity of high school sports, and I get it. I do get it. But at some point now, especially because, I mean, I was surprised that Pennsylvania it pulled through Pennsylvania, because now that all of a sudden I think has to raise some eyebrows, especially if you're the OHSAA.
I wonder if PA has a cap though. Like you can get, but like high schoolers can't sign ridiculous contracts. Like you're not going to get 50,000. You know,
I'm
sure
there's
a cap.
in the fine lines that you have to read. I can't. I don't know exactly like what those.
Wouldn't that kind of make sense to be like, hey, you can do, but like let's make a cap to it? Or
Yeah,
do you think it's just like go get whatever you can get? If that's $1 million, then go for it, kid.
I wonder how many are going to offer kids. How many $1 million deals are out there for kids?
LeBron James would get $1 million in high school. If he
You're right. You're right. He would have.
I know that's a really big outlier, but there are big college football players that, probably would have gotten that kind of money in high school if they were able to while they were in high school. Trevor Lawrence would have probably gotten a lot of money in high school if he could have in high school.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't know. I think it's just like I said, you kind of put these teams between a rock and a hard place. Now have a hard time controlling themselves at games win. Yeah, exactly. I like Chris Sigler said, there's so many more cans of worms that you could just keep opening with this, and it's like it's never ending, because like it's bad if you do, it's bad if you don't, because like you got to kind of outweigh the pros and cons and see what like I said, there's going to be a percentage of athletes, I feel like.
Coach, now it's not, coach, you're not playing my kid. Now it's, coach, you're not playing my kid and you're costing him money.
Yeah.
So
you're costing the family money. Like, yeah, it's a nightmare.
Let me tell you, Sonny Jim, if you're fighting for playing time, you're not getting a lot of money from NIL deals.
No.
Let's be real.
But yeah,
unless you get a bench contractor to pay you for sitting on the bench. Oh, was that too harsh? Did I just cross the line?
A bench contractor. You need to get what was it, that whole fiasco with like the Dallas benches not being like warm or whatever when they went to like Buffalo or something like that. There's something like that happened this past season. But yeah, bench sponsorships, there you go. But yeah, there's so many
sponsorships that like the realtors get. You get one of those.
Just your face on it. Oh man. No, I think it does open up nightmare scenarios though if it gets pushed through. But again, like I said, you're risking losing athletes, at least some percentage of athletes to other schools, especially like you said, and if every other state around us allows it, what's stopping these kids from making money in another state?
From the OHSAA standpoint, this is what they care about. They're going to lose the athletes that get them money, because the athletes that draw crowds to those state championships, the big ones, the big ones that everyone wants to go see play ones, they're going to go to states that they can get paid.
You're going to water down every sport in the state of Ohio, because like you said, and the ones that are getting paid for name, image, and likeness are the ones that have super talent, that bring in the crowds, that bring in people to watch them. And those are the ones that are going to end up hauling and go making money elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. There were a couple of kids that played for Akron St. Vincent St. Mary this year that already had D1 scholarships like on their table. Maybe they don't go. Maybe they go to somewhere else if they were able to get paid somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, because those scholarships aren't going to go anywhere, right? Like, it's not like those scholarships usually are going anywhere if you could keep up your level of play against high competition. So if you're able to just kind of up and move, keep those scholarships and still make money while you're doing it, like what kid's passing that up?
Not too many.
It's a tough conversation, and it's one I know some people don't want to have because they don't want to see it, but it's one that we're going to have because
you're gonna have to have
it's
it
real.
because I think it's coming, whether you like it or not. I think it's on the horizon.
This is a great point. If Ohio adopts it, it'll be interesting how it'll affect transfer rules with competitive balance multipliers. I completely agree with that one.
There's another can worms.
Yeah, that's gonna throw a whole monkey wrench into things too if you do adopt it, because now because if you try to load up one team, right, you can't just load up a team with talent, or else it's gonna have to cost you, right? But now, what do you do if all those kids are bringing in money?
Right. Like, hey, we'll throw your school like $25,000 if this kid's on the field. Okay.
That's insane to think about. There's got to it's going to be a lot more legal talk, and it's going to be a lot more contracts and stuff that you're going to have to write up
because of this. You hate to say it, but money will make people shifty, and money will make people find loopholes in that rule. They already do. Let's just be real. Like, let's not pretend that no one finds any loopholes in any transfer rules. It already happens. It's going to happen a lot more if NIL deals get signed in Ohio. There's going to be some under the table discussions. There's going to be some shiftiness because when those zeros get added up, the greed and the shiftiness of people kind of goes up too.
I wonder how do you think this affects a lot of small schools too? Like, I feel like a number of small schools, if name, image, and likeness is approved, are going to fall by the wayside. Not
Same
all.
way it affects small colleges right now.
That's what I was saying. It's got to have a trickle down effect, right? If it happens at the high school level.
Because like if you're like, let's say even at the micro level, if you're sitting at a Division IV school that is in the middle of nowhere, but you have the talent to maybe play at a Division III high school that is in a city, even if it's a small city, that gives you more chance to get some money, like, you're gonna take it, right?
Yeah. In football too, how many Division VII athletes are going to move up just because of the number of like sponsorship deals they'll be able to get because of NIL being allowed? They'll probably have more access to sponsorship deals. The bigger schools you get, the bigger the city is that's around you too. Like the more sponsorship, like that's another consideration too. If it gets approved, it becomes a lot of murky waters that you kind of have to navigate.
Company X comes to you and says, hey, we just signed a big deal with this school and we want you to be a part of it because we want to sign you. So why don't you transfer to this school and you can be a part of that big deal that we just signed with them? Like,
I feel like it's going to be, I don't want to say the death for a lot of small schools, but it's definitely there are a lot of them are going to fall by the wayside.
Here's another thing. Right now, the ability of the OHSA to really police stuff is kind of, if they put the NIL deal, like there goes the ability to police stuff. It's going to be the wild, wild west for a little bit.
Yeah, until you implement something else. I don't know. It's an interesting discussion, and maybe it's one they'll continue here on shows today, or maybe it's one that will continue next week on Running Point as well, Ant. But I thought it was something interesting to bring up, especially since it's getting closer to home with how many schools now are going to be approving it, or I shouldn't say states are going to be approving it.
Eyes are going to be squared on Pennsylvania to see how it works and what kind of goes on in Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah, Ohio kind of has a perfect guinea pig right next to them, and Pennsylvania kind of just see how this works. If it works out, maybe you will probably see Ohio adopt it if it works for Pennsylvania.
Yeah, a lot of eyes are going to be fixed on PA in the Ohio area, West Virginia. Kentucky will probably kind of keep an eye on Pennsylvania.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward.
Gonna be fun. Gonna be interesting. And like I said, I think it's a discussion that whether you want to have it or not, is coming. So
It's
you
one
better start having it. We're gonna be right back on Running Point as we take our second break of the day. Don't go anywhere. This is Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell as we continue this Thursday edition of the show. And we want to kind of reach out to you guys and say thank you for tuning in, as always. And we're going to go over the schedule for tonight real quick as we head into the last kind of leg of the 2 hours that we're able to have on today. Today, there are going to be 6 NABF sophomore series games to kick off the NABF season on scene 1, 2, and 3. But all 3 fields will have a doubleheader at 5:30 and 8. Richie Giuliano will be on scene 1. Noah Ricks will be on scene 2. And Ian O'Brien will be on scene 3. Go over the schedule real quick for that, as we said it before. The schedule is, I'm going to pull it up real quick. Okay, today we have on scene 1, the first game, the 5:30 game on scene 1 will be Avalanche against the Ohio Longhorns. The first game on scene 2 will be the Astro Falcons. Oh, I'm sorry. That'll be the second game on scene 1. We'll just go scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, I think. So that will be the second game on scene 1. The first game on scene 2 will be Ballistic Baseball and Fielder's Choice. The second game on scene 2 at 8 o'clock will be the Yukon Miners against the West Hills 14U baseball team. The first game on scene 3 at 5:30 with Ian O'Brien on the call will be Whiting against the Pittsburgh Spikes Long team. And then the last game of the night on scene 3, once again, Ian O'Brien on the call, will be the Brunswick Orioles against the Northern Ohio Canes on scene 3. And that'll be just the appetizer, because tomorrow we're going to have 12 NABF games on the network from 10 o'clock all the way down until 5:30.
Yeah, and you know what? Like we said, Ants, you're going to be, we're both going to be kind of preoccupied with some games tomorrow. But I mean, instead of the show, too, from our usual 12 to 2 time, there's going to be plenty of games going on the network. Get out there, watch the game, support these kids, watch these NABF games, because they're gonna be a hoot and a half. They're gonna be really fun to watch. And you talk about the talent that you're gonna see even in the sophomore divisions, young talent up and down the lineup as well. Like we said, Whiting, your champions are going to be competing in this one too. So you're going to see the Bob Scene champions as well as a few other teams from Bob Scene Park competing in this one.
So let's see, that's 12 tomorrow, 6 is 18 plus 8 on Saturday. It's 20, 26, 2, 26, 28, 29 games between tonight and Sunday for the NABF sophomore series.
There's the mic again. Unbelievable amount of games though on the network, and you can find them right here on ysnlive.com/live.
Once again, on the call tonight, Richie Giuliano on scene 1, Noah Ricks will be on scene 2, Ian O'Brien on scene 3. Both pulling doubleheaders, so we want to give them both their due credit and the tip of the hat, because we know doubleheaders aren't exactly the easiest thing to do. You know, you're going to get a little bit gassed out after game 1, but our announcers do incredible work, and they're willing to go put the hard hat on and do 2 games in one night at Scene Park. They've been doing that all season, and it's not going to change here as we head into NABF season, as all 3 announcers are pulling double duty. Also on the network tonight at 6 o'clock is going to be the continuation of the Little League 9U championship between Canfield and Poland. That game is in the second inning right now, and it is 3-0. Not right now, but you know what I mean. It got suspended in the second inning. 3-0 Canfield leads. They will resume that game at 6 o'clock on L1 down at the Field of Dreams. DJ Oakley will be on the call.
That should be fun, and that should be a great time as well. As we continue some more into Little League action as well, which we love to see. And also, Antler, like we said, we're gonna have a dozen games at NABF on Scene Park tomorrow. We're gonna have some on Saturday as well, and then of course we have Steel Valley Storm games as well too. And before we get out of here, do you want to give a preview of the games you guys have?
This is going to be the last travel weekend of the season for the Steel Valley Storm. They are heading down to beautiful Berliner Park, which is the biggest softball complex in the state of Ohio. For the weekend, they will be playing in the All-Sanction World Series. 90 teams in the 16U pool this weekend. In the 16U division, you have 5 teams in our pool. So we'll play 2 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday, and then I believe bracket play will actually start Saturday night and go into Sunday. So when bracket play comes along, we'll have those games on too. But as of now, we have 4 games on the network from Steel Valley Storm, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and they'll be we'll play the USSSA Pride Platinum team. No, the Cannons. Play the Cannons 16U team at 11:45. Then we'll play the USSSA Pride Platinum team at 3:20 on Friday. On Saturday, the Steel Valley Storm is ready to go on the early morning against the Lady Irish 05 Gregory team at 8:30. And then at 2 o'clock, they'll have a game against Mill Fast Pitch out of Chicago, coming all the way from Chicago to Columbus. They'll be able to play them at 2 o'clock. So we'll see how the Steel Valley Storm do. This is definitely going to be the best competition they've faced all summer. I was doing a lot of deep diving into the teams we're going to play, and especially that USSSA Platinum team. They have a couple of players from Watkins who went to the state championship game in Division 1. So they're going to be a very talented team. So I'm excited to see how our players line up. We won 2 brackets in a row. So we are back-to-back champions so far in this summer. We're going to try to bring that momentum into this weekend, be as competitive as possible, but also give the girls one weekend of fun before we have to say goodbye to each other until the winter, and we get ready for, their fall seasons. A lot of them play either volleyball or soccer or golf. We have a couple of golfers that are actually really good. So it's going to be a fun weekend, the last hurrah for the Storm, and it'll be fun to kind of have one last weekend to grow and get better with those girls.
And until next winter, then, right, Ann? You're gonna have to.
I think we pause until November 1st, if I'm not mistaken. That's when we're able to get back together as a team.
You're gonna have to fill that softball itch for the last few weeks while you got it.
I might have to find some other tournaments that just to go to, not to coach in. I know there are some other travel tournaments that extend past next weekend. Might have to see if anything's going on at McCoon Park.
Yeah.
Just to get that fixed.
Don't forget though, too, next week we'll be starting our previews too of getting into fall sports. So all fall sports that we have on the docket, we're going to start trying to get previews and interviews loaded in for those, while simultaneously still talking about all our Little League action, NABF tournaments, Bobsine Park action, and all that.
And we are lining that up with our partners at 21 WFMJ, who will have the Muscle Connection high school football previews starting next week as well. You can find a complete schedule of when they're going to be previewing each team on their website. I think they do about 3 teams per night, maybe 2. Maybe it's one on the 6 o'clock, one on the 11 o'clock. But either way, you can find their schedule on their website, and they will try to hit every area team before the season starts as they begin their Muscle Connection high school football previews on Monday as well.
Yep, we're definitely excited for it, no doubt.
And after tomorrow, we'll be 4 Fridays away from the start of the high school football season.
It's crazy, Ant. It's crazy to think about.
Gives you the rumblies in the tummies, doesn't it?
For sure. For sure.
Great googly moogly. On that note, me and Ty are going to take what, is it 90?
I think so. Yeah.
Math is not my forte.
I think it's like, yeah. I think so, because 72 hours is 3 days, so add another 24, it'd be 94, right?
Oh, 92, okay.
94-hour break, yeah. Well, 96.
96, so now it's a 94-hour break, okay.
94-hour break, yeah.
We're taking a 94-hour break. We figured it out. We're taking a 94-hour break. We'll be back on Monday from 12 to 2 with Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Thank you so much for tuning in.